Hello students, I am Dr. Bhalshankar. I am going to discuss about the importance of morphology in nomenclature. Nomenclature means it is the science of naming. It means any unknown plant, it is identified and give its name. So that art of naming is the nomenclature. So the name of the plant it should be given according to the ICBN. ICBN means it is the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. So, it is necessary to give name to the plants as it is identified. The scientific name of the plant it is composed of two Latin words. The first one that is the genera, name of the genera, and the second word it is the name of species or a specific epithet. The specific epithet means what? For example, Vinca rosea. The rosea it is a specific epithet. It indicates the color of that flower of that plant. They are rose-like or pink colored. So roseous. So it is a specific epithet. So the scientific name it should be or it have the first name is the generic name and second name is the species name or the specific epithet, and after that there the name of authority. The authority means the who proposed the name of that plant. For example, the Linnaeus. So Mangifera indica Linnaeus. So Linnaeus is the authority who proposed the name. Okay, so generic name, species name, and then authority. So this system is known as the binomial system of nomenclature. The binomial means it contains two names, generic name and species name, and it is that method or that name it is followed all over the world, or these rules they followed all over the world. So any plant they have the same scientific name all over the world. That means suppose a plant that is Mangifera indica, it is the name all over, it is identified all over the world, but its common name Amba, it is not common to all over the world, but Mangifera indica it is all over the world. Okay. Then effective and valid publication of the new name, it is mandatory to submit the type specimen associated with Latin diagnosis of the plant. Means what? If you want to publish or if you want to give a scientific name to the plant, it is necessary. Mandatory means it is necessary to give the Latin diagnosis of the plant. That means all the description of the plant according to Latinized system or the Latin words. For the perfect naming, the morphological knowledge it is most important. So botanical names, it should be either in Latin language or the words that have been Latinized from the Greek. Okay, that means the word it must be from Latin or Latinized from the Greek, or some other languages also include in it. For example, Sanskrit. So the botanical name it should be in a Latin or some other languages, for example, Sanskrit. So most of the plants, particularly they have the specific epithets. So epithets, I already told you what is meant by epithets. So this epithets means the specific name, it may be on a particular character. Okay. So the morphology, the epithet, it may be on the morphological characters, or it may be according to the geographical characters, or it may be according to the plant characters. Okay. So, for example, the roseous. Roseous means the pink like pink as like the rose. Albicans means they are white as like the albugo. Erectus means they are erect. Repens means the plants are creeping. Giganteus means very large. Cordifolia that means cordate or heart shape. So all these names, that is roseous, albicans, erectus, repens, giganteus, cordifolia. All these are the Latinized word, or these are in the Latin language. So, the specific epithets, it may be linked with the geography of the plant. So, in which area it is found, or what is the native of that plant. According to that, it may be the Chinensis, means belong to China. Aquaticus means that plant, it is living in water. Or Indica, it has native to India, etc. Some plants, they have the plant characters, or some generic name, they have the plant characters. For example, Hydrophylla, that means they are marsh loving. Or म्हणजे आपण चिखल म्हणतो, marsh loving. Or Acanthospermum means spiny fruit. The plants which have the spiny fruits, that generic name, they are the Acanthospermum. Then importance of morphology in classification. Classification is the arrangement of plant into different groups according to the particular plan of the nomenclature system. So nomenclature system, and what are the ranks of that? It may be the class, subclass, order, family, order, genus, species, etc. Okay. So these are the different taxa, or these are the different groups in the nomenclature system. So the classification is the arrangement of plant in the different groups according to the particular plan of the nomenclature system. There are the several ranks of the classification, right from kingdom to species. Even it is up to the variety also. So each rank has some distinguishable morphological characters. For example, a particular gene, it has the particular specific characters. That characters not included in the another gene. Okay. Or the species, particular species have the particular characters that are not the characteristic features of other species. So each rank has some definite distinguishing morphological characters. Then the classification is based on the morphology, but recently the information from other branches also used in the classification. So for example, the different branches like physiology, genetics, it is the science of inheritance, so related to genetics, molecular biology, embryology, palynology, science of evolution. So all these sciences, they are also taken into consideration for the naming, for the classification. To resolve the problem in taxonomical studies, particularly delimiting the taxon, many morphological characters have been found very useful. That means to particular delimit the taxon. Delimit the taxon means, suppose it is a particular taxon, it is a particular genus. So this genus, they have this particular morphological characters, and so to delimiting that taxons, so a morphological characters, they are very useful. Okay. So this genus, it has these particular characters. For example, cassia species, they are separated on the basis of arrangements of the leaflets, the presence of different types of the glands in the different species, the types of the stomata, which types of stomata are present, types of the subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells means the cells surrounding to the stomata. Trichomes means hair like outgrowth. Colon character. Then nodal anatomy. Nodal anatomy means the node and internode. We know that. So node. So when we take the sections, that is the internal structures of the node. That is the nodal anatomy. These are the different characters which help to separate the families from each other. Importance of morphology in phylogeny. Phylogeny means it is a science of evolution. So evolutionary history of particular group of organism is called as the phylogeny. So these studies are possible only with the morphological studies. So, for example, the study of wood of nettle. Nettle means the netum. When we study the wood of netum, it is uh, it is observed that the netum, it is the link between the gymnosperm and angiosperm. That means it has some advanced feature as like the angiosperm. It has some advanced features as like angiosperms and some primitive features as like the gymnosperms. Then another example, there are the several system of classifications based on the phylogeny. For example, Hutchinson system of classification. There are the number of systems of classification, Bentham and Hooker system, natural system, number of natural system, the Hutchinson system. So according to this, according to the Hutchinson system of classification, according to this system, dicots are the more primitive and the monocots are more advanced. The simple leaves, they are more primitive and the compound leaves are more advanced. Polypetally is more primitive and the gamopetally is advanced one. Then the floral anatomy of Anonaceae. Anonaceae सीताफळाची family. Anonaceae. Calicanthaceae or many Spermiaceae. They confirm that this family Anonaceae, Calicanthaceae or many Spermiaceae, they have their origin in the Ranunculaceae family. That means this shows the resemblance with that families. Then the mechanical and vascular tissues, they have significance in the phylogeny. Okay. So lower plants, they are the primitive one, they are delicate, they are without mechanical tissues and the vascular tissues also absent. On the other hand, the higher plants, they are more advanced because there is the presence of well developed mechanical and vascular tissues. Okay. Then study of morphology of reproductive organs, it's shown that there is the progressive reduction in gametophyte and predominance of the sporophyte in the higher plant. Okay. For example, if we study the Riccia, it has the dominant, the plant body is the gametophyte. Okay. But if we look at the angiospermic plant, the large plants or large gigantic plants, they are the sporophytes and the flowers on it, they are the gametophytes. That means gynoecium, androecium, these are the female and male sex organs. So gametophytes. Then importance of morphology in plant breeding. Plant breeding, it is a science which is used to improve the economically important plant with their superior qualities. Means the experiment of hybridization is carried out and to convert or to bring together the new or novel characters in the new plant. So the plants with the new superior qualities. So that science is known as the science of plant breeding. So morphology, it has importance in the plant breeding as the plant breeders, it depends on the morphological characters of the plant for selection of the parents for the plant breeding experiment. That means the parents, the choose for the experiment, they must be with the superior characters, and superior characters we can observe it by our eyes, naked eyes. And second, the breeders means uh, the persons who perform that experiment, hybridization experiment, that are the breeders. The breeders should have the knowledge of chromosomal morphology. Chromosomal morphology means which types of genes they are present, present in that organism. Then the plant breeders, it must know about the floral morphology before starting the plant breeding experiment. So the floral morphology means, for example, if we see the Clitoria flower or pea flower, okay. So the structure of the pea flower, it is very easy to open and to carry out the plant hybridization experiment. That means emasculation or to support to the cross-pollination and avoid the self-pollination, etc. So floral morphology is most important for the plant breeder. If the some flowers they are very minute or we cannot open it easily, then it will be difficult to the plant breeder. So there are two breeding systems in the plant. One is the amphimixis and second is the apomixis. So first of all, what is meant by the amphimixis? So in amphimixis, plant reproduces sexually. So some plants may be self-pollinated, that are known as the autogamous, and some may be cross-pollinated, that are known as the allogamous. The development of pure line. Pure line means what? The pure line means these are the organisms which genotype is contained both the genes, both the alleles of the gene, it must be in dominant condition. For example, in 12th we have studied the Mendel experiment. So in Mendel's experiment, the tall plant, the parent tall plant, it has the capital T, capital T. Okay, so that plant which contain the capital T is the pure line plant. So in the hybridization experiment, it is very necessary to develop the pure line plants. So development of pure line is possible only through the autogamy. Autogamy means the self-pollination. It is also known as inbreeding or endogamy. Then the cross-pollination, it results into production of the hybrids. So after the autogamy, the pure lines are produced. Pure lines, that means they contain all the dominant characters, and then carried out the cross-pollination between the two different plants. They are the pure lines, and when they cross, they produce the F1 hybrids, and that F1 hybrids they are again heterozygous. Heterozygous means dominant recessive characters we need. So they are the outbreeding or heterogamy. The cross pollination is also known as the outbreeding or the heterogamy. So by the heterogamy, the new hybrids they are produced. This hybridization is bring about the variation, or to develop the new characters. The artificial cross pollination is necessary. So it is employed to the plants. So it is the most effective method of production of the recombinants or the development of new traits in the hybrid. That means to develop the new characters in the hybrid plants or these new plants, it is necessary to carry out the cross pollination, and that cross pollination it must be artificial or it is man-made or manipulated. So this manipulated or artificial cross pollination it is employed to the plant for production of more new characters in the hybrid plants. Then second, that is apomixis. Amphimixis means the plants which produce sexually, and they may be the autogamous or heterogamous. Okay, that means self-pollinated or the cross-pollinated. Then apomixis. Apomixis means reproduction without meiosis and syngamy. Syngamy, meiosis, you know that what is meant by meiosis? The meiosis means the organisms they are diploid, so their cells they have the two sets of they have the two chromosomes, and after the meiosis they get separate into gametes and they have the single chromosomes. Okay, and the syngamy means when the parents, that means from mother and father, when the gametes unite, so it again becomes diploid, and that is the syngamy. So it is divided into two main classes. What? Apomixis. It divided into two different classes, that is vegetative propagation and agamospermy. Meiosis and syngamy it is related with the sexual reproduction, but the apomixis it is the reproduction without this meiosis and syngamy. So without sexual reproduction. So it is of two types, vegetative propagation and agamospermy. So through apomixis, no genetic variation will take place. For example, when the two plants they cross with one another, then gamete from this and gamete from this plant, one from mother, from father. there is a combination of the characters and new characters produced. But if we take a branch of the plant and propagate it, that vegetative propagation, it shows that the new plant, it have all the characters similar to that of the mother plant. Okay, so there will be no genetic recombination or variation takes place. The vegetative reproduction takes place through the bulbils or tubers or rhizomes. I already told you, and you already studied in 12th. Rhizome, adrak, tubers, potato, bulbils. These are the, for example, agave plant. They produce the ball-like structure, vegetative structure. Okay. So these are the different types of the reproductive structures, vegetative reproductive structure, modified reproductive structures. Then in agamospermy, apomixis, there are two types, vegetative and agamospermy. So vegetative, they are the different types, these bulbil, tuber, rhizomes. Agamospermy, the absence of meiosis and fertilization, but then also it produces the seed. Okay, that means we know that the seed is produced after the sexual reproduction, and when the male female gamete they fertilize, so inside the ovule which is present inside the ovary, it turns into the seed. So from the seed again new plants will rise. But in agamospermy, there is no meiosis, no gamete formation, no fertilization. But then also it produces the seeds, and the embryos in the seed, it is identical to that of the mother plant. They are identical to that of the mother plant. That means they have the similar characters with their mother. So I hope you got the points. So thank you very much.